Welcome, obsessors, to your favorite personal development podcast. You love us and we love you. And we are back with Jenny and Kelly, the Enneagram sisters, to talk all things relationships related to the Enneagram. We had them on before, we had to have them back. And we're going to gain more wisdom and understanding about ourselves and other people through using the Enneagram. So, welcome back, girls.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us back. We love this.
And if you guys have
Awesome.
questions about what the Enneagram is, I suggest you listen to the last episode with Jenny and Kelly because you will understand the foundation of the Enneagram and what the types mean. We're going to dive a little deeper because I know Mika and I just cannot have enough of these amazing women.
No, we can't have enough. We have to eat the whole box, just like the Oreos. Oreos are vegan, so we have to eat the whole box. The girls happen to be vegan, which is
Look
awesome.
at that.
Yes, I had to do the vegan plug. And whenever you can, come out to Florida to our vegan bakery and cafe.
Yeah, it's
Jules
so
has
good.
been out, yes, and with the Enneagram. So in the previous episode, so Kenny and Kelly, we talked about the Enneagram types. We went through all the different Enneagram type personalities, and we talked about a little bit about personal relationships. So, Jenny and Kelly, what about relationships in a workplace? How does the Enneagram type help?
So again, understanding your number is kind of a great place to start. But apart from that, it's always nice to diversify your workplace. So depending upon, what your goals are, where you're going, what type of business you have, it's always nice to have a couple people in all three stances, depending on how big your workforce is. So we didn't talk too much on this in the last one, but we can this time. There's three stances. There's the withdrawn, which is the 5, 4, and 9. There's the aggressive stance, which is the 7, 8, and 3. And then there's the compliance stance, which is the 1, 2, and 6. So having a little seasonings of all three stances is really going to make your workforce super powerful because now you're drawing into the aggressive stance, which gets things done, the compliance stance, which will support and go with, and the withdrawn that's going to do all the research and all of the deep dive behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. I like the withdrawn. I like the withdrawn stance. I need to hang out with more withdrawn stancers.
And your other host is a withdrawn. So
look at that. Okay.
Yeah, type 9.
She does do a lot of research every time I'm like, I don't have to worry about it. Tia has done the research. She does. That's interesting now that you're saying that.
And also, Jenny and Kelly, so Enneagram type 5 and Enneagram type 9 is in the withdrawal stance. What is the other Enneagram number?
In the withdrawn, 4.
4. So yes. 4, 5, and 9. And where does the Enneagram number 1 fall into?
The compliant.
So 2, 6, and 1 are the compliance.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So do we need someone from the compliance stance to be on our podcast or work with us? That would be Terry's compliance.
It could be helpful, but the cool thing too is, which we didn't talk about before, but we could talk about where the three of you go in stress and in strength. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we could. So you each have 2 numbers that you have access to when you're in stress or in strength. So type 3 goes to type 6 in strength. So when you're feeling really good, you're going to have more qualities of the 6 on the high side. So you're going to have the loyalty, you're going to have the stability, dependability, more patience with others. In your stress zone, you're going to go to 9 as a type 3, which means you're going to kind of zone out and do some numbing kind of practices. Maybe it's watching Netflix too long. Maybe it's eating a whole cake instead of one piece. So those are kind of the darker places you go to in stress as a type 3.
Have you been watching me through my window?
I love how you used cake. I was like, oh yeah, bakery.
Vegan cake, that is. Vegan cake.
The whole
She's a beautiful cake decorator. No, but that's so fascinating.
Thank you, Jules.
She is.
Yeah. So then going to 7,
Uh-oh.
7 in stress, for the most part, will go to 1. And that is when they are black and white about a lot of things. Like, this is the only way. This is the way that I'm going to do it. So it's the only way. They start to get more perfectionism, which is totally outside of their character. When they are in strength, they are going into 5. So they are finding that they are doing more research. They are like digging deeper. They are staying a little bit longer and not jumping from here to there to everywhere. So
That doesn't sound like fun though.
yeah, right. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it slows you down to be able to like appreciate moments that you miss if you're going too fast. Yeah.
It sounds like the 7 is going into like a flow like state, you know, where
Yes,
you're
it's
able
not-
to lose track of time and just be focused, and really you kind of just have almost like a spiritual connection to whatever it is that you're doing, and you just go all in. You lose track of time, place, everything, and you're just in love with whatever task or
I know exactly what
thing
you're
that you're
talking
doing.
Yeah, like self-care activities we always recommend for the 7 is meditation, yoga, something that's grounding.
Meditation.
Yeah, and journaling.
Yeah, journaling. And those are hard for a 7, but we often see clients that do start to incorporate those practices into their day-to-day life. They start to feel more grounded and appreciating life at like such a higher state.
Yeah.
So that's a 7. Then moving on to your 9. The 9 will go to Kel. Will do this one because she knows this so well.
Okay.
She's in that triangle.
My triangle. Yeah.
You guys answer I feel like you guys, answer each other's questions. You can, you have the same mind almost.
Yeah, we're
So
trying.
basically, you can impersonate each other if one is not available.
There you go. So yeah, the 9 triangle. So 9s in strength go to 3. So normally, they're really laid back, but they can use the access point to 3 to have a little more showmanship, to get things done, to pull them out of that withdrawn stance and into doing. And then when they're stressed out, they go down to 6, where they're having anxiety, they're worrying too much, they're overthinking things. So that's all part of the 9, 3, 6.
Yeah, in a nutshell.
That is really fascinating.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Tia if that rings true, but I know she's gonna. Tia, they're right?
We're so sad we didn't get to meet you. Maybe next time.
You will,
Next time, for sure.
She loves the Enneagram too.
I find it fascinating how, Jenny, you say that, and Kelly, I believe you co-signed, where you said, when I asked you questions like how to best basically get along with your partners and coworkers, and your immediate response was by understanding yourself more, by understanding your Enneagram personality type more. Do you find that our society, especially in the Western world, our society focuses more outwardly? We focus more on other people's actions, like we're more reactive, because our question is always like, when I see things on YouTube, questions like top questions or Google is like, how to get my partner to acknowledge me or do this for me, or how do I get, other people to see me or acknowledge me? And we're always looking outwardly. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Because your response was more going inward.
Well, as we mentioned before, you can't control other people's thoughts or behaviors. But you do have some limiting power over your own. And so yourself is really the only place you're going to be able to create change, no matter what the advertising world tells us. And you're right. That is a great question, because the world, especially this country in particular, and we've done some case studies on countries, which is really interesting, but this country, the United States, is very much reactive. And so it's all about what can I get out of this other person, instead of how can I change the world from an internal perspective. which is really just such a great place to be. It's healing. It's helpful for anyone in your inner circle that surrounds you. And there's a trickle effect. Any add on to that?
I was just going to say, we kind of use the metaphor of a dance. And so, you can't change the other person's moves, but if you change your own moves, they have to accommodate because you're in this dance together as a relationship, whether that's coworker, romantic relationship. You change your steps, they're going to change their steps.
Mm-hmm. Did that help?
It did.
Yeah,
it
no,
did.
it did.
Fascinating.
I was really in my 5 zone, and I was really
Oh, good.
thinking it and thinking about it.
See, growth already.
Growth. And it is a tool just to understand. When we understand ourselves, we have the ability to explore other options to live a life that's in alignment with who we truly are. And that's what I think I love about the Enneagram.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Jenny and Kelly, sorry to just a quick question. So, do you think that
You're being very
Tia
aggressive.
and I, do you think
Mika.
Tia and I should be encouraging Jules to meditate more and yoga more?
Yes.
Nice. So, because that's in an expansion state, right? That is in a growth state.
It is a growth state.
I did yoga every single morning, 6 a.m. for 5 years, and then COVID hit. Of course, I couldn't do it. I can naturally do it because I remember everything, but getting back, that was really when I felt like I was in my best self when I was doing that, because yoga is very meditative. It is
Yes.
the mind-body connection. And I have noticed like a disconnect. And thank you, Mika, for reminding me, because I really do need to be more focused on that.
And if you follow us on Instagram, we talk about what self-care activities really work for your number, overall, what works in general. And that's something that we really dive into in our retreats because we know the powerful science behind it. And our goal is to connect heart to body to mind. Once you've connected those 3 things fully, then you have so many access points on the Enneagram, and you're basically rising up to that higher self.
Yeah.
I love it. And so we talked about with Enneagram type 7, it's yoga, it's meditation. So what are some self-care tips? Like for me, being a Enneagram type 3, what would you girls recommend?
I'm going to think of something. Okay. I'm going to see if I know. I don't know. You can answer.
Okay.
You're going to guess.
I definitely think journaling is awesome for 3s, especially because they have a hard time tapping into feelings. They're very doers, go, go, go. And so I recommend keeping a feelings journal. So anytime overwhelming feelings, any feelings, you list them out. You don't even have to write a sentence, just you can bullet journal your feelings. And then that's going to show you a pattern of when I'm feeling things and how those feelings are affecting my relationships and myself and those around me. That's one.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful. We talk about doing all kinds of things. A forest bath would be really good for 3, which basically is walking through the forest. If you have a forest nearby, if you don't, you could maybe.
You do that, Mika. You do that. She does.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Hey, awesome.
See, you're already doing self-care habits
great.
organically.
Yeah.
Explain what a forest bath is, because I don't know if everybody knows what a
It
forest
means
bath.
take off all your clothes, get naked, cross the interstate, and then
Find a forest.
There you go.
That would wake a lot of people up, I think.
Oh my God, Mika, the picture in my head right now.
I'm picturing Jules naked.
Yeah. No, you're the 3. We're talking about you.
Oh, then picture me naked. Go on, girls.
We are loving the visual. A forest bath is basically going through, it doesn't have to be a forest. Ideally, a real forest would be great because of the oxytocin properties that are being released. So anti-stress, bringing those hormone levels down. Traditionally, you sit against a tree. And so it kind of gets into hippy dippy, but we love that kind of stuff. So you lean into a tree and you're just like being thankful, first of all, of nature. Like we are so small in relation to the entire universe. And so understanding that yes, we can do great things, but we're not everything. And so embracing yourself to nature by pressing against a tree, being thankful, being present. Sometimes people want to release anguish. Sometimes they want to release fear, guilt, shame, whatever it might be. If you believe in God or a higher power, it could be a prayerful experience where you're releasing, but then you're bringing back in the goodness. You're bringing back in, whatever is true of you, whatever is true of the tree of the universe that you're believing in that moment. And so it's kind of a cleansing experience, hence the word bath, of letting go of what is not true of yourself and bringing in what is true. Sometimes we say focus on a word, and we have certain words for certain types, but every word, the word love is good, the word truth is good, for every number. And so that's kind of it. There are some people that scream and cry and really release. And there are some people that are more subtle and they just sit with the tree and then they hug themselves before they continue on their walk.
Yeah. Do you have a list of self-care for each type? Maybe we could hand that out to all our listeners, or they can click on your website to find what self-care.
We don't have it on our website, but I can send it to you. We're kind of changing our website right now around. It'll probably be up in a month, but we'll send you our specific self-care activities that you can put in your show notes.
Oh, that's so fabulous. I mean, I'm ready to go to the forest, but what would I'd be running around looking for deer and playing with the squirrels. No, I'm teasing. Or maybe I will.
Both are okay.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are just everything that you're giving us is so brilliant because it hits home. Doesn't it hit home for you?
Oh, good.
Ika? You're on mute though. So yeah.
I'm talking. I didn't know I was on mute.
No, just to put her clothes back on.
I am fully dressed, ladies and gentlemen. No, this is all fantastic. And Jules is actually Jenny and Kelly. Jules really, she's being modest, but she really is into Enneagram. So when I saw you girls on Instagram, I knew that we had to have you on the show. Jules she really rallied for the Enneagram for our group. Jules created a group during the pandemic and connected everyone across the United States and had a space for people that couldn't go out and about anymore. And so to still have that personal connection. So Jules created that. And then she came across the Enneagram and this is in 2020, and she really took to the Enneagram. So she's being really modest right now, but I have to kind of point that out. So Jules, because you're more of an expert than I, do you feel like this is more of an in-depth discussion that you've ever had with our girls today about the Enneagram?
I absolutely do. Just understanding those things for self-care and the different stances. I understood some of it, the arrows and that sort of thing. And I took several classes on the Enneagram. And so what I do is before I meet with my clients, typically I send them an Enneagram test. And I immediately know before I meet with them what I'm dealing with, but how to communicate with them and how best to communicate with them.
Yeah.
So, but you guys definitely took it to the next level, and it fascinates me because I'm like, I need to learn more. I need to get into my 5 zone, learn more. And I was in that flow state when I was learning about the Enneagram because we all are driven by different things. And it's so fascinating to me that there's 9 different types, and we can actually, all of humankind can be stereotyped, if you will, or typed into 9 different categories. And there's variances, of course, but it fascinates me. And when I would go over the Enneagram results with the clients, their face would light up like, how did you know that? It was like, I was clairvoyant. And they're like, that's so weird. And they would light up. And then they thought like, how did you find this out? But it is all because of the Enneagram. So I love that malleable aspect to the Enneagram. For me, when I'm doing business I know you're a 1 and a 6. Jenny is a 1. Kelly's a 6. And I'm thinking, okay, who's pushing this steamboat? Like who's pushing the boat along here? You guys are driven, you have an amazing business, but I think you guys have done the work, and it's all about doing the work to make ourselves better and make our experiences here on earth better for not only us, but for our families and friends, and leaving the earth better than how we found it. And it does start with introspection.
Yeah.
It does.
Was that the answer you wanted, Mika?
Yeah.
I got very
yeah.
passionate. I'm like using my arms and I'm like,
Awesome. Well, girls, thank you so much for being on our show again. And please let
we are
everyone
blessed.
know.
We're blessed.
Yeah, we are blessed. And we will put your information in the show notes. And thank you for being on our show. This has been really enlightening. And I'm sure that our listeners listening in would definitely agree. So thank you, Jenny.
Mika and I
Yeah.
are going to the
Thank
forest.
you.
Yeah. Thank you again. It was so great to be on.
Yes.
We adore you girls. The EnneaSisters are here again. Check out the episode previous, last week's episode. They're amazing. Check them out. They hold retreats. And I think they're ever evolving because they understand the process of evolution, and we can be anything we want to be as long as we know who we are originally. So check out the EnneaSisters. Remember, send us some love, get a little obsessed, share, subscribe, review to our podcast, share it with your friends. Why not? Because get them obsessed like us. Thanks, everybody. And again, I'm going to say the word obsessed for the 5 millionth time today. Get obsessed with your life.